In the early days of the automobile, most people would probably be surprised to find out that most cars weren't painted. It was a luxury. Cars were still in their infancy, so some of them were unpainted. Maybe they were painted black because, well, the locomotives were black and all the machinery was black, and, well, that worked. Of course, the most famous black car story is probably Henry Ford, who had once said something to the effect, you can have any car color you'd like as long as it's black. Well, and actually from 1914 to 1926, that was 100% true. All Model Ts were painted black. Why do you ask? Well, it dried the fastest and it was the least expensive to use. And at that time, everybody wanted a Model T. That allowed Henry Ford to produce a Model T every 90 minutes. Of course, we know today you can get your car in just about any color you want. Of course, the materials have changed and how the paint is made. We're gonna head up to TAT and find out how that technology is being used today.
Welcome back to Road to Apex Season 3, where all roads lead to Apex. Today, we're talking about the history of automotive paint. Joe and I figured that we should consult some experts on this topic, and a great place to start learning was at Transtar Autobody Technologies in Brighton, Michigan. After all, they know a lot about paint. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's jump right in. Early automotive paint was based on varnishes and lacquers derived from natural resins. The application process was rudimentary, with very little variety in color options. In addition to the lack of color variety, paints were often prone to chipping and fading due to the lack of advanced formulations.
Why so much black back then?
Well, it dried quickly and it was easy to produce.
Post-World War II, the automotive industry embraced enamel paints, which were more resistant to weathering and provided a longer-lasting finish.
So what you're looking at here is what we would call our enamel, acrylic enamel. The reason why it's acrylic enamel is it sticks to metal and it has a little bit of corrosion protection. So this is something that would have came after that paint, which was probably lacquer on the Model A or Model T. This was the next step in the evolution of paint.
And boy, did automotive paint stay this way for a long time.
General Motors used lacquer all the way up into the 80s.
Yes.
So,
So the paint technology was almost kind of the same for a long time?
Yes.
Wow.
50 plus years.
The 1960s and the 70s did, however, see a rise of acrylic lacquer and improved formulations that enhanced color stability and gloss.
Nobody wanted to have something that failed on their brand new car in a couple years.
The focus shifted towards more vibrant and complex colors, including custom and specialty finishes. This brings us to arguably one of the biggest shifts in the history of automotive paint.
well, a big thing that happened in paint was when they catalyzed paint.
Now, you might be wondering, what is a paint catalyst?
Catalyst is an activator which will harden a paint, right? It helps it become a more solid, compact system.
This is also about the time that base coat, clear coat method became standard.
We've got base coat, clear coat here, is that correct?
Correct, yep. This is the next step up. You put the color on, which this was a red solid, and then it was clear coated afterwards.
But Tom, what does the clear coat do for me? How is it helping?
So remember, back when you were talking about that first fender, somebody had to buff that out to get a shine. The clear coat gives you that ultimate look and a nice shine.
That's right. And not to mention, the clear coat gives it a nice depth, which is something that customers were wanting at the time. Hence, the use of urethane clear coats became common, providing a high gloss, durable finish that enhanced protection. Environmental concerns began to influence the development of paints. In a response, water-based paints emerged. These paints reduced harmful emissions and were safer for both workers and the environment. Advancements in technology have led to the development of high-performance coatings, including a new kind of look, which is commonly known as matte.
Don't touch the matte finish, Joe.
Matte finish may seem complex, but it's actually pretty simple.
A clear coat without a gloss.
Well, maybe not that simple.
There's a pigment in the clear coat that sits up and doesn't allow it to gloss out and lay flat. So all it is just tricking your eye.
Tricking my eye? That sounds familiar, Brian.
And something along the lines of that is Lexus came out with a color called structural blue that has no pigmentation of color. It's a darker blue than this, but it makes you think you're looking at a blue, but it's pigmentless.
While matte finish may not be everyone's preference, you have to acknowledge that it has definitely pushed the bounds in automotive paint.
So I guess your original question, how far have we come? Pretty much looking like light years to me.
Well, that about does it. That's the history of automotive paint, all the way up to where we are today. Now let's take some of this knowledge that we have learned and apply it to real life.
Aftermarket Armor introduces a bed liner that has a 4-hour pot life, which is twice as long as the competition, giving you the needed time to complete the job. A proprietary formulated product giving you the best UV resistance, protecting your vehicle from sun fade for years to come. Find out more at aftermarketarmor.com.
Looking for a refreshing change? Say goodbye to sluggish performance and reach for the one that won't slow you down. Experience the force of clean, pure air. Wix Premium Filters. Performance starts here.
Leading is about more than just having advanced technology. It's about understanding and fulfilling our customers' needs at every step of the journey. We take pride in being more than just a supplier. We are your partners in progress.
Buckle up, AAPEX attendees. Looking for OE performance in your automotive aftermarket parts? Continental delivers. Our comprehensive aftermarket program matches OE standards, including our OE Technology Series belts. This ensures technicians can install our belts, hoses, tensioners, and timing kits with confidence. Continental, we know OE because we are OE.
Here we are, we're back at the last Hudson dealership. There's been a lot of discussion at different times about the history of paint. We've talked about enamels, we've talked about hand-rubbed lacquer jobs on early vehicles, and then we talked about the later paints that have come. But this is a perfect example of how it used to be. At this Hudson dealership, there was a complete display of all the different paint options that you could have, that you could do it yourself for your car. And if you notice, you look in here, you have small touch-up bottles, that would be lacquer paint. Then you have the bigger lacquer touch-up paints for the bigger scratches, if you will. But I thought it was very interesting down here. You have quart cans of what they call body lacquer. But then if you come down here, they have wheel enamel that was used because the wheels were painted with enamel paint for more durability, and they were painted more often. Very interesting display and a little look at history of paints.
So Brian, they just announced last month that the average age of today's car now went up again, which means the aftermarket is really important to keep these cars going right now. And everybody probably complains about this, is the headlights. What happens and what causes these headlamps and these headlight assemblies to yellow and look so cloudy and faded? What causes that?
So basically they have a protective coating from the factory. So it's just a thin coat to kind of help it look good, to get it off the lot, you know, get it through the warranty process and so on. What happens is now you have this, and we're going to show you how to kind of make that look new again.
Yeah, because a headlamp assembly is not cheap today.
No.
We don't want to just replace these, and you guys have the solution on how to do this. And you're going to show us how to do that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing how this is done.
We know that, like Joe said, that lights aren't cheap nowadays. So this is a good fix for anybody. And the biggest reason why we want to tape it all off is we're going to be applying a coating to it, and we don't want to overspray on the rest of the car. So we're trying to protect off other things from making those nice and shiny.
All right, so what are we going to do first here?
So what we're going to do is we're gonna spray some waterborne degreaser on this.
All right.
And you just spray a nice amount. You wanna give that a few seconds to kind of lift any contaminants that are on the headlight.
And we can get this product from you guys too.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
What's
It's
it
called
called?
AquaScat 2.
Okay.
And it's a waterborne degreaser. So all you wanna do is wipe the headlight off. This will remove any kind of organics. And once again, the reason why we use waterborne degreasers is because the solvent-borne will change that plastic. Sometimes there's such hot solvents in there they can melt the plastic. And then you're gonna take some 600 grit. You can do 800 depending on the headlight, how bad it is. So we wanna make sure we wanna remove it all and give it a good grit for the clear coat to stick on, because that's gonna be the final process. So we'll take some 600. You can do this by hand, but we have the convenience of a DA. So you just apply this on there. We do have an intermediate pad. This is something that we would want to explain to get to the DIY guy, because otherwise you can see the pad is kind of stiff that comes with the DA. If you start going over these curves, you don't want to flat spot it. So the intermediate kind of gives the DIY guy that's not very familiar with it that cushion, or just do it by hand.
Or do it by hand.
Correct.
And this car is 11 years old and it's never been done. So I mean, this is about what you're starting to see over 10 years or even quicker on some of these cars, on how fast they really yellow and get fogged.
Absolutely.
All right.
So we're just going to do this. So basically, when you're doing this step in this process, it doesn't cause a lot of dust because you're basically sanding the plastic. It's not going to kind of come up. You know, when you paint or when you get into painting, we want to talk about wearing a respirator and all that kind of stuff. But you're looking to make sure that you get away from that peelage and get the yellow, so you can kind of start seeing it clearing up. And now you can see most of the yellowness is gone. Now, a lot of people will look at this and go, wow, you destroyed my headlight. That's where the clear coat comes into play.
Sorry, Drew. We're using
You thought it was foggy before.
Yeah, but I think we're hopefully make it better.
Yep. Now I gotta.
Now let me ask you this though. There's a lot of products on the market, headlight restoration kits, all that. Is this really the best way probably to handle these?
Yes.
Okay.
Because with those products, depending on where your demographic is, right? What weather, you know, somewhere where it's really hot, those might last maybe a couple weeks to a month, maybe a few months. Some of them may last a little bit longer, say up here in Michigan where we're at. We don't have the really hot weather, so it might last 6 months to a year. This, when we apply this clear coat, it'll give you 2 to 3 years.
Any shop can do this, and then you also said if you do have like a DIY aerosol that if somebody was just wanting to do it in their garage and they can do it without having to have a compressor.
Correct.
So you got two different products that anybody can choose from, and in the regular shop they're going to want to choose the clear and get a nice spray that you guys are going to use. Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's mix it up.
Okay.
Sometimes my wife gets upset with me with the stuff I buy. She says that every time I take a quote home. Can't you buy anything cheaper? She goes. I go, yeah, I sure could. I said, but I'm not. It's either getting Hunter or I'm not getting one.
We are MPA, Motor Car Parts of America, a global manufacturer of light and heavy-duty rotating electric, brake parts, wheel hubs and bearings, turbochargers, and electrical component testing. MPA, the global leader for parts and solutions.
Introducing Nexa Motion Group, a family born to unite the most innovative businesses and brands in the automotive aftermarket. Here at NMG, we're not just changing the game, we're revolutionizing it by bringing together Transtar Industries and top auto care experts. We're committed to delivering everything you need for aftermarket success, from top-notch parts distribution to a cutting-edge e-commerce platform. Moving forward, with the Nexa Motion Group, where cutting-edge innovation unites with exceptional service and quality products.
All right, so what else we got going on here, Brian?
So what we noticed is, once we cleaned it up the first time, We noticed there was a little bit more haze left on there, so we went ahead and resanded it. The other thing is too, is you want to grab some Scotch-Brite and you want to just knock down the shine on the edges.
That's for adhesion of the clear coat.
Exactly.
Okay.
And because we're in a shop and we have the use of power equipment, you could do this whole headlight with this Scotch-Brite. So as we were talking about, the guy that might not have all these tools, he can make his headlights look a lot better using the Scotch-Brite and then the aerosol clear.
Perfect.
Get that all nice and scuffed.
But really, this process does not take very long for a shop to do that. If they wanted to, again, a customer says, hey, can you do this?
From start to finish, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. Yep.
And you know, a great point we were just thinking about is, in the collision industry, if this one was damaged and it had to be replaced and it was brand new, this one still looks all hazy. This is a great opportunity to have your customers get that vision back and kind of get them matched and looking the same. I'll knock this one down and you go get that clear.
All right.
So Brian, at this point, if this was a little bit too much and they didn't want to get the clear out and spray it, they can go ahead and use this though, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. This does the same thing. It's just it's a clear coat that we'll put over this. So it's great for the DIY or even just a shop if they're like, we don't want to invest in a gun. But what do you have mixed up and what are we going to use to do this? And to kind of walk through this, because you know, somebody who might be trying this out and going, I'm going to get a gun and do all this, they want to know what products to use and how to mix this up.
So basically, we have our top speed clear coat, which is a 30-minute dry clear coat.
And you said we can use it for other things too, right? You said?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can use it for mirrors. You can use it for door handles. You can actually use it on a small fender, such as on this vehicle. Somebody scratches it, things happen or whatever. They don't have to get into other panels. They can use this.
Oh, perfect.
This is the slow activator. We recommend using slow with this because it's already such a fast clear. If you do something different, you run into where you could solvent pop or something like that. So slow activator, fast clear. I know it sounds a little weird, but it works.
How long does it take for it to dry?
30 minutes.
Okay. I am going to step out because I don't have a respirator. And remember, you should have a respirator anytime you're doing this kind of work. So Brian's going to go ahead and do that. And with the power of editing, 30 minutes will go by just like that. And we'll see the finished product here in just a second.
Yep.
With the power of editing, the time elapsed. Half hour later, this is the finished product. And I can't believe these are 11-year-old headlights now.
Yeah, that looks great.
Perfect. Appreciate you showing us how to do this. This is a lot easier than most people probably thought. And this is a great way for a shop, again, to make a little bit of extra money that's not going to require a lot of investment to do this.
Correct.
Looks great. Thanks, Brian. We really appreciate it. Automotive headlighting sure has changed over the years. From 1940 to 1983, all vehicles were required to have a sealed beam headlight unit such as this. This meant that if you had to replace the bulb, you replaced the entire bulb assembly.
It's not Waterford crystal or a Hasselblad lens. It's a headlamp. And if you think that's impressive, wait till you see what's attached.
Not like today where we started phasing out sealed beam headlights in 1990s and went to the composite style that you just see today. That so often needs freshened up to look a little bit better.
Since 1927, AP Emissions has been your source for complete exhaust innovation. We're your one-stop shop for the exhaust brands you know and the quality you trust. Visit apemissions.com.
Today's technicians look to the aftermarket for quality parts so they can turn their bays and get their customers back on the road. BCA Bearings by NTN provides OE quality wheel hubs, bearings, and seals to ensure that when customers come back, they come back for the great service.
Hey, Scott here. I just wanted to stop by and let you know where you can find any of the Transtar Autobody Technologies products used in those applications. It's real simple. You can go to gettranstar.com, or you can visit any national jobber store near you, and you'll be sure to find everything that Transtar has to offer. Now back to the guys in Brighton.
We had a great time today out here at Transtar Autobody Technologies. I learned a ton from the three of you, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you have shown us today. It's been a great time being out here.
It's a great visit, guys. Thanks for hosting us. And we, just like Joe said, I learned a lot too.
Yeah, we'll see you at the AAPEX, right? Yeah. All right, that sounds good. We're wrapping it up here on the road to AAPEX. All roads lead to AAPEX this year. We'll see ya.